here I am driving because we were getting low on baby formula. Right now there's a shortage on baby formula, so tracking it down is a bit of a challenge sometimes. I'm on my fourth store, and I was finally able to track down enough for a couple of weeks.
Hello, everyone. You just watched a clip from Mizpah's personal journal entries that he's recording on for this Becoming a Father series, and we're going to jump right into this. Mizpah, we just watched a clip of your concern about formula and how you have to drive around sometimes to 4 or 5 or 6 stores. You were actually, I believe, driving to your fourth store when you, in the journal entry, you were driving to your fourth store to get formula. So, how is that a concern for you? Is that something that this is?
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely a concern. Like, it wasn't something. I mean, we kind of talked about it before our baby got here. But the problem is, you can't like pre-buy formula because you don't know if she's going to have an allergic reaction to something, or if she's going to have maybe a lactose intolerance. Or
How do you? I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I wanted to ask you: can you talk about the process of how formula? How did you choose the formula that you're currently using? How did that process take place?
So when we were in the hospital, the hospital only has so many different types of formula to offer. So they start on kind of like basic everyday formula. Now in the beginning, your first few weeks, it's a little more nutritious, or I'm sorry, first few days, it's like specifically for newborns. So
Okay.
it's a little, has more nutrients and a little more fat and stuff in it. The formula they gave us at the beginning, like she would eat, and then a few minutes later, it would just right back out. She'd expel about half of what she took in. Now, even with that, she was losing weight, because in the hospital, babies lose weight their first day or two. Part of that is it's a lot of water weight, because the mom's hooked up to IVs and they pump a lot of saline. Well, the baby takes some of that as well.
Yeah.
Or actually, it's called lactated ringers.
Okay.
So basically, it's an electrolyte.
Okay.
So the baby gets rid of a lot of that after they come out.
Yeah.
So they'll lose some weight. So that's to be expected.
Yeah.
But if they're not getting the formula in, or getting, milk from their mom, then obviously they're going to lose a lot of weight really quick. So that's why they try to get, for those who aren't able to breastfeed, they try to give them a very nutrient-packed formula at first, to compensate for the lack of natural breast milk.
Yeah. Now,
In our case, it's too rich for her, which it would upset her stomach, and out it would come. And the hospital didn't want to hear at first that we thought there was a problem, because we were beginning to think she was lactose intolerant.
Yeah. So then how did you, so from there, where did you go or how did you handle getting her on the different formula, and how did that process take place?
So we talked to the nurses, and we asked them what other options they had available. And actually, I learned something in that process, that there is actually women who will donate breast milk to the hospitals. And you can use donated breast milk if you're not producing your own, or, maybe it's late onset, or something like that. Like you that's actually an option, which I didn't know something like that even existed.
Yeah, that's neither did I. That's crazy. That's great.
But they also have, like formula for sensitive stomach. They have formula that is.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. There's a lot of different types of formula out there. So how did you guys decide? How did you find the right one for her?
Well, the hospital, after we explained the situation of her spitting up the formula after a while of eating it, they said, well, let's try a sensitive stomach formula. It's trial and error.
So it's just,
that's all it really is.
so that's it. So it's just trial and error. That's just, there is no other way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, now there are things like if there's a lactose intolerance, you can
Yeah,
tell.
of course.
But outside of that, it's trial and error.
Yeah, it's just trial and error. Okay. So let's talk for a second because with your guys's baby, you and the Breeze's baby, it's not breastfeeding is not an option. That's just the way it is. It's not a choice that you guys made. It's just not available for you guys. Nature had other plans for this. Without getting into too much personal information there. So it's not that you're against breastfeeding or anything. It's just that it's not an option for you guys to do.
Correct. And I mean, unfortunately, that can be the case a lot of times for various reasons. Not all moms produce their own milk.
Yeah. I'd like to see if the Breeze would be interested in coming on to talk about that sometime, because that's when you told me, I was like, that's impossible. But it's really not if you actually look into it. It happens, more frequently than you think it does. So, sometimes formula or donated breast milk, which I also didn't know was a thing until just now, is the way some people just have to go. Now, did you guys do any donated breast milk, or are you guys just stuck with the formula and finding the right formula?
Since she was already on formula, and we were actually already trying the sensitive stomach formula, which seemed to be working for her. She was keeping it down. She was sleeping longer. Things seemed to be working well. We chose just to stay with the formula instead of switching it up again on her.
That makes sense.
Once we had gotten home after a while of using this formula, she started to develop a little bit of acid reflux. And part of that is because she was a little early. So the flap in her esophagus isn't fully developed yet. And that's pretty common too.
Yeah.
But so we actually were going to try to switch her to a different brand of sensitive formula that is geared towards acid reflux.
Okay.
That did not go well at all. not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Like it was 2 to 3 days of absolute hell. Fussy baby, not happy baby, not sleeping baby, and pukey baby, and just general miserableness all the way around. So she went back onto the formula that worked, and that's where we've stayed.
Okay. So, well, that's good. I mean, at least you have something that works for, but so just trial and error on the formula. Now, once you got home and once you guys figured out the formula, then it was the matter of getting the formula.
Yeah.
So,
had we have been able to stockpile ahead of time, so that we had, a couple weeks worth of formula, we would have gladly done so.
But you didn't know.
Our doctors exactly explained that's not a good idea, because that you might be sitting there with a couple weeks worth of formula and
she can't eat it. Yeah, she can't eat it, or it'll give her an upset stomach, or any number of things could be wrong. Yeah, as we've just learned. So no pre-picking the formulas, nothing you can do, just trial and error. Once you figure it out, then you got to try and get it. And the shortages are still going on because of, from the COVID-19 epidemic, which is just ridiculous that we're still seeing this stuff. The ripple effect is still happening even now with certain things.
It's even more than that. On top of the shutdown from COVID, there was also a shutdown due to a bacteria that was
A
found.
recall. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. I'll post the link to that up in the description of this video. I did see the story that it was there was bacteria. They had to recall one of the plants makes like 3 different kinds, had to recall all of their
Not just 3
formula.
different kinds, three or more different brands.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Yes. 3 or 4 different brands. Yes, that's what I meant to say. Yes.
It like made one of the major companies, in fact, happens to be the one that makes our formula.
Yeah. They're
Was shut down for a long period of time.
due to
It actually got
Go ahead.
so bad that they were shipping formula in from Britain
Yeah.
and Canada and stuff.
Yeah. We didn't. I don't think we didn't see this part in the clip, but you go on to talk about how in this country it's facing something like this, like formula shortages for your babies, is not something you'd expect that we'd have to face here in the United States.
Yeah. I never dreamed in a million years that I'd be struggling to find formula for my child.
Yeah.
I mean, in a country where we're used to just going to the grocery store and picking out whatever we want whenever we want it, and
we used to be.
Worry about is it there. Well, yeah, exactly. We used to be. It's just not something I ever dreamed I'd have to worry about. And there was when we started getting very low on formula at one point. I mean, we were down to like 2 days worth of formula. So we kind of started getting a little concerned, and me and my wife had a talk, and I told her, I said, look, I said, I don't care what it takes, where I have to go, how far I'm going to have to drive, or anything like that. I will be coming home with formula. You won't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and how crazy is that? I mean, you're just even you like you said in the entry, you and I were blessed to live in an area where there are stores, a lot of different places. We're not in a major city, like Philadelphia, New York, or Los Angeles or anything, but we live in a place where there's lots of access to different convenience stores, different grocery stores. We have a lot of access here. But you still, even with all the access we have, you're still driving around 4 or 5 or 6 stores to find it. I imagine just continuing to get further away, that from your house. What goes through your mind or have you not reached the point? You said 2 days. So what was going through your mind when you were out searching, 2 days of formula left, and you're searching for how to get some more? What are you thinking about personally?
Well, by the time I hit my 6th store and hadn't found any formula yet, I was definitely starting to get a little worried, because now I'm looking at time and I'm like, stores close in 4 hours. How many stores can I hit in a 4-hour time period?
Yeah.
So then, I pulled up my phone and I started mapping out where all these stores were, to plan my most efficient way of hitting as many as I could. And, now I knew I had another day or two, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, you want that cushion now.
It was already too close for comfort.
Yeah.
And we had already been out a couple times before that looking for formula and didn't find any. So this was kind of like that final last ditch big push of, hey, I'm going to hit every store I can physically hit in, this day, and formula, then I'm buying however much I can.
Yeah.
Um, I was lucky, and I did find.
Let me ask you a quick question before we get ready to close out here. When you were out looking at these stores for the formula, were you getting to the point? Were they completely out of formula, or were they just out of the formula that you needed?
So I would say probably 2/3 of the stores I hit were like completely wiped out of formula.
So completely out of formula.
Yeah, like if they had anything, it was maybe like a can of some off-brand powder that nobody really knows the name of.
Okay. So now, were you starting to? Well, you had 2 days, so I imagine. But what now? Let's figure first, just a second. Worst case scenario, you didn't find any. Would you have just gone to get a brand then to use, even though would have, she probably would have had an upset stomach or puking or pooping or any
Yeah.
number of things. But would that have been what needed to happen if
Well,
necessary?
we actually had talked about that, and we were going to reach out to friends and family that we know that have kids, find out what formula they use, see if there was a chance of getting, maybe a day's worth, because we don't want to deplete their stock either.
Yeah.
Um, just to be able to carry us over for another day or two
Yeah.
to see if I could find any. And then at that point, if I still hadn't been able to find any, then it was whatever formula I could get and pray that it didn't, completely wreck her gut.
Yeah. 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 That's the fine line you got to walk there. That's but you're still, how are you stocked now?
So I have a decent amount stocked now. I have, so what we did was I'd set up so that 2 weeks worth of formula and I'm out searching.
Gotcha.
So that way, now obviously I'm not sitting on like months and months worth of formula.
Yeah.
But
But you're at least
we
you're
at least
comfortable
have
at the moment.
like 4 or 5 weeks worth.
Yeah, that's good. That's good news. So
At first, it wasn't bad finding formula at the beginning of our journey here because we were able to go online and look to see if places had it available.
and then you get it
And
shipped from wherever.
yeah, like a major store, Target, Walmart,
Yeah.
grocery
Then they
store. Then they stopped posting it online.
yeah. And even the ones that did started limiting what you could buy because of the shortages. And some of that is due to COVID. Some of it's due to people they're having trouble finding people to work at the factories and stuff, and the supply lines are still a little disrupted. That's what happens when you pay people to stay at home. But that's not the place for this. So
So,
stay tuned. Oh, go ahead.
but not, I understand why a lot of places stopped posting online the availability of formula because there were people going out there daily and buying all the formula they would find
And then reselling it.
and then reselling it for like 100% markup.
Yeah. See, I thought that was illegal. I'm gonna have to look and check into that. But I thought buying products and then pirating them and reselling them, that's illegal.
Yeah, but how do you enforce that?
I think when you see somebody who is posting a bunch of formula online when they don't have any children would be a place to start, in my opinion.
Well, again, so somebody posts, they have a little bit of extra formula. They know times are tough right
Yeah,
now.
but we're not talking. I mean, yeah,
If
but
you want to buy a couple of packs,
it was
give
just
me
like
a call.
it was just like with toilet paper, man. No one, people aren't that cautious anymore. Yeah, I'm sure some people are doing that, but there are people out there going, "Hey, I got all this milk. I got the formula. If you want it, come and buy it." Like there are some people who aren't just being, because who cares? Like you just said, how are you going to enforce it? Well, the person who's posting, "Hey, I bought all the formula. If you want some, you have to come and buy it from me," would be a place to start, in my opinion.
And you're not wrong, but doing that. So it seems to me like the answer on how to stop people from doing that isn't actually stopping people from doing that. It's making it harder to get it.
Yeah.
So rather than them being able to shop online at home,
Yeah.
now they have to drive out to 20 different stores and hope that they find it.
Yeah.
So it takes away that incentive.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there. And
On the flip side, for me, it makes it a whole hell of a lot more difficult.
that means you have to drive around to 20 places to find it.
Exactly.
Because see, that's the other thing about getting things from shipped online, is that they can be in any, some of these places like Target and Walmart, they have warehouses. So if it's like within a certain range of whatever store you're shopping at, even if they don't have it in the store, you can get it shipped right directly to your house. So you don't have to go out and search to 5 or 6 different Walmarts to see if they have any. You just search online and, oh, that Walmart has it. I can get it shipped here.
And, again, you had already touched on it, but, thank God we live in a area where I can drive to 24 different stores
Yeah.
in a 3 to 4 hour period to find formula.
Yeah.
Imagine the poor people that live, where just a drive into town is, 20, 30-minute drive for them.
Yeah.
What are those?
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. Because as we discussed, sometimes breastfeeding just isn't an option for one reason or another. It's not always that people choose not to. It's that sometimes nature just has other plans and it's just not an option. Nature or God, if you want. I'm sorry. Nature, God, same difference to me. So, but sometimes they have different plans. Whatever those plans are, we don't know. But sometimes that's just the way it is. And having shortages on these formulas is a real concern if you're a parent. So I can imagine that you were, beside yourself there when you were even being 2 days out. If that was the lowest you've been at that point, you were probably like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm just going to start driving. Just start driving to neighboring state. I'll just keep doing a search pattern, going further and further. And that's terrible. That's got to be a terrible feeling to have. But at least you haven't had to. You found some. You have some now. So that you didn't have to go out and do that search party that you were dreading. So let's be thankful for that. That some of the supply line issues and some of the production has resumed, so that people can get what they need.
Well, I mean, it's at least for the time being, it's a little bit easier, but there's still much of a big.
Oh yeah, I don't mean that the supply lines have been like fixed by any means or anything. We're still facing increased prices and inflation, and there's still problems. Yeah, but at least for right now, you've been able to find some, and you have some in case of emergency. So yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, let's be thankful that you've at least got a little bit, and you have some reserves if necessary. With everything going on.
In fact, the last trip I made looking for formula, I actually was lucky enough to get to the store as they were pulling it out of this truck. Literally, it went from the back of the truck through the doors into my cart.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to find a manager who cared enough to actually go into the truck and find the formula for me.
Yeah, nice.
So
yeah, just bring the portable digital thing. Bring it out here. Ring it up.
and thankfully, I mean,
Bring
I
it up.
was blessed enough to find somebody that did that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been challenging to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for continuing to do this series and sharing some of these the joys and the trials and tribulations that you face as well. The next episode, episode 6, I believe it's going to be, or is it episode 6?
Yeah.
See, I messed this up last time. Yes, we're on number 5. So on number 6, stay tuned for that one. That one's going to be a good one. We're going to talk about a potential health concern that Mizpah has come up with. So make sure you tune into that one. It's going to be a real important one. Thank you for tuning in. Please share it out. Leave us a comment for myself or for Mizpah. If you want to leave either of us a comment or a question, please do so. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check out, we are available on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Just search the Boiling Point Podcast. You can find us. You can follow me on Twitter at Mayhem Prez. That's with an S at the end of it. And you can also follow me on Instagram at JDEDESIGNz. That's with a Z at the end of it. For my executive producer, Mizpah, and the Becoming a Parent series, I am your host, JD, and that's the end.
Right.